Okay, hello. This is a little commentary video about Sabre SG's latest episode of his video series about EVE Online. It's about him finding a gate camp in Losec, and well, before he jumps there, let me scroll back a bit. He was asking for commentary on how to survive this gate camp here, and you see him warping in. And we have Automata, Stiletto, Broadsword, another mower, and a Wetmech on grid. And it seems like the Tormentor is just unreal, the third party here. Stiletto, Broadsword, and the Wetmech are engaging the other mower. So what he could have done here is, instead of spamming jump, just warp off, right? That's the easiest thing you can do in that situation. He's not tackled, nobody is locking him up, or everyone is busy with that other mower. So these guys probably assume he's maybe they assume he's with him. So two mowers roaming around Losec, not too uncommon maybe. But let's go ahead. He's decided to jump here. I mean, possibly you don't know what's on the other side, right? So you can also take the jump if you want to go through that gate. And here now there's a problem, right? There's a flycatcher and Osprey Navy here. That's not good targets for a mower, right? You can expect the Osprey Navy to be kitey and the flycatcher to be just fast enough to tackle you. And yeah, the mower is not the fastest ship anyway, especially not with an afterburner, and it's also not super tanky with that configuration, right? You only have 2 mid slots dedicated for tank here. The other 3 are a scram web afterburner. So he has one large shield extender. And here we go, right? These two people are probably with the other gang, with Broadsword and Stiletto and Wetmech on the other side. So they were waiting for a mower. Not necessarily Sabre's mower here, but a mower. And the other guy made the mistake to decloak first. So naturally they run after him. So now these two guys are totally busy chasing that other mower. That would have been the moment for Sabre to just warp off and continue his roam. He's not tackled. Way enough time here to just warp off and jump the next gate, But he tries to he instead decides to crash gate, and that's a bit of a dangerous decision, right? Because they can still expect that there's still Stiletto, Wetmech, and Broadsword on the other side, which have that aggression timer. Now at that moment, there's only the Wetmech and the Stiletto here, and there's another interesting moment. Let me pause here. Right now, he can be expected to be tackled by the Stiletto, right? That's no way around it. But gate guns might still push that one off. So then would only be the Wetmech left to tackle him. Maybe you could run then, in that moment. Because, yeah, gate guns will hurt the Wetmech as well. So another option would be the Wetmech is super close here, 13 kilometers, right? That's within heated web range. So if he heats his mids here, his tackle and his afterburner, he could get on top of that. Now, given that's a bit of a desperate move, if you already know what this gang has, like the Osprey and the Broadsword flycatcher adding to that Wetmech DPS, so that's a bit of a desperate move, right? But a blaster mower getting on top of a T1 Wetmech, yeah, there's quite a chance you take it down before your own ship blows up. So that would have been a chance. But watching that video back and forth, I have a strong feeling that the Stiletto and Wetmech pilot is one guy multiboxing. You will see why I think that is when we keep playing that video. So here he's holding his cloak a bit, thinking about how he's gonna do it, checking his ammo, right, and then decides to reapproach, also by spamming the jump button. That can I wouldn't do that. I would just hit approach, because then you might accidentally jump right when you just wanted to stay here. Now he's hitting the button and gets tackled by the Stiletto pretty much instantly. You see movement here. Yeah, shortly after the Wetmech does as well. And now Stiletto warps off, right? He got aggression from the gate guns, and what you can see here. Sorry for the bad video quality, but you know it's YouTube compression. Now the Wetmag is warping off as well. I think that Stiletto hit fleet warp, right? And accidentally warped those two characters, which are on the same fleet, off the grid to the same ping. And there was a brief moment there where both had warped off, right? Where Sabre wasn't tackled. Right? When the Wetmag warps off and drops point. And now here he's not tackled anymore. And the Wetmag, the Stiletto is already struggling to get back. And Stiletto, Sabre recognizes this here, but a bit too late, and the Stiletto had time to land tackle on him again. And now he's already jumping. No need, actually. So you could have waited it out a little bit longer there, because there was no damage on you. Yeah, the Wetmag wasn't there, nothing was shooting you, the Stiletto has no damage, just tackle mods, right? Just a scram and a long point, it seems. He also was in scram range, right? Could have gone on top of that and shoot it. But that's a dangerous move, right? So he could have gone away with 2 kills totally. But then again, you don't know where the broadsword is at that moment. A risk you might have to take. But anyway, Sabre jumps here. And only a little dent in his hull and quite a bit of heat damage on his mids now. So, here's just a terrible target, right? You're not gonna get away from that. And even with a micro warp drive ship, you would have been in trouble because the broadsword would just scram you at like at least 19 or 24 kilometers, depending on which module he has in his high slots. Let's skip ahead a little. Yeah, there you can see the hick point, right? It's a scripted scram which goes like 19 kilometers with T2, I think, or 20. And a lot of heat damage now on the mids. That's of course a bit of a trouble. In case you didn't know, you can see the heat that has built up on your racks here. Like that's high slots, that's mid slots, that's low slots, and there's a little red bar in here. Sorry, can probably see that right now, but it's a thing. And that goes down over time if you don't heat your modules, right? So, but that determines kind of the likelihood of stuff you can, how likely it is your modules take heat damage. But I'm getting the wrong topic here. Here he's deciding to line off because there's only the Stiletto here at the moment. And a thing you could do, the Wetmag isn't here, right? So probably gone repairing as such. I think he's still local. What he could have done here is, yeah, the flycatcher is coming in, asking, do you need help tackle? Stiletto pilot says no, flycatcher jumps back, okay, I'm gonna wait on the other side, he's crashing gate again. So, what Sabre could have done here is, the Stiletto pilot makes a mistake here. There is it, point dropped. He's still in point range, but he misclicked. He deactivated the module. So if he would have been aligned at that moment, he could have warped, right? And that tackle drop also makes me think that the Stiletto pilot was multi-boxing his Wetmag at that moment, because he will show up in the next moment. Jumping from the other side of the gate, I think. Yeah. Well, there was no gate fire, so I guess that... Well, I'm unsure where that Wetmag now came from. Probably either warped in or came from the gate. But yeah. Now, there is basically nothing our Moa pilot can do here except jumping the gate without taking too much damage and hoping for another third-party Moa coming in and saving him with this distraction. But yeah, it's basically it now. Now these two sides of this gate camp have established. On the one side, Wetmag and Stiletto. On the other side, Broadsword, Flycatcher, and Osprey Navy. And yeah, they're just gonna grind you down over the time it takes you to jump gates. You might sustain that a little bit long in an active tanked ship, like like on armor tanked Vex or something, and make the jumps a couple times more before you run out of heat and your auxiliary wrapper runs out and stuff. But yeah, that decision to go for the Wetmag would have been a bit of a desperate move, but if you are in find yourself in such a situation, you should make that decision rather early, rather sooner than later, because well, you build up heat damage on your models, then you can't heat any longer, and yeah, it just gets less likely to get away with at least a kill mill in that scenario. So at some point, yeah, but when you know you can't get away from each sides, then it could be worth to like go in for something. Here, Sabre basically barely makes it back. You also saw the the broadsword trying to bump him off the gate so he doesn't make it, but he barely gets through. Already dipped deep into armor, and yeah, armor is basically gone. Hull is still there, and yeah, now it's just a matter of time here. There's nothing much else to say here, but except, well, worth trying, I guess. And mistakes are made, just learn from it and do it again. Here. Now he's trying to warp off, and of course gets tackled. Yeah, warping at 50 is not a bad call, because if they warp at 0, you're 50 away, and if they warp at 100, you're 50 away. So that's kind of a good guess, but of course this level gets him. And then Sabre is in warp in a pod. And that's for that. And one thing I want also to mention is the alignment here. This alignment here is only graphics, right? I saw a YouTube comment here on the Sabre's video, which I also will link in the video description here. The chat Flame said, the one thing I do is try to see what my ship might be closest aligned to when cloaked. Try to warp to that. No. That is a very common misconception I had as well for quite a while, but that's purely graphical, right? It doesn't matter for the EVE client where your ship looks like it is aligned. For EVE, your ship is just a sphere with a velocity vector which builds up over time, and the time it takes is decided by your fitting in your ship and your ship's stats, basically. So that's pure graphics. The rest is math. So this alignment here sadly doesn't help anything. It's really just for the looks. Good example is ships like Super Capitals and Titans drifting into warp, like they are flying sideways at warp speed, because the graphics haven't caught up with the math yet, and so I guess the CCPR department decided to do it like that to keep the feel and look of like a heavy, like you're flying a couple thousand tons of steel through space, right, and not like a card box. So you want to have that kind of slow movement as well, even if you're warping. So it looks kind of cool and kind of funky, but yeah, that's just a graphics thing. Okay, that was that. What I wanted to say about this comment here. So graphical alignment, don't rely on it. It doesn't matter really. You can test that yourself if you want with something slow like a hull or something. And then there's this guide I want to reference, which I will also link in the description. That's my blog, if you didn't know. And I wrote the Gate Camp Survival Guide back in 2020, and it's mostly focused on like exploration frigates, like covert ops, cloaky, nullsec stuff. But goes also into details about how to get away from a gate camp in low sec and wormhole space, how that polarization stuff works, right? You can only jump back and forth every 5 minutes there. A lot of details and some example situations you might find yourself in are described in there. So you can read over that, and like it's basically going through checklists of the situations, what you're in, and what would be the best practice. And I mean, if you have that open on your second screen or something, you could even read that up in that minute of gate cloak you have, right? So maybe that helps some of you guys out there. But I'm already talking 50 minutes. Holy crap. So I'm keeping it short here. Bye.